Welcome to the Sci-Fi Evolution channel. You're kidding! An ordinary Terran can't solve this equation faster than the entire class combined, Blard exclaimed, his gelatinous form trembling with indignation. The class at the Galactic Academy of Higher Mathematics was buzzing, students from different parts of the universe, some with tentacles, others with multiple heads, and some were just intelligent gas clouds. Were all chatting, gurgling, and vibrating, expressing their opinions on the issue under discussion. At the center of this interstellar commotion stood Zorp, the quartz representative, whose crystalline structure shimmered with embarrassment. "I'm not joking, Blarg. I saw it with my own eyes. A man named Kai just scribbled something on his datapad and handed it in." Professor Quantum 9 almost shorted out in an attempt to process this. A bard's voice came from the back of the room, cutting through the noise. "You know, I can hear you all very well. It's not like I have a symbiosis." The class stared at Kai, their eyes wide with disbelief. The sight of the neutrofruit made some recoil in horror, as the idea of eating a part of a living organism was still an alien concept to many. "Oh, never mind," Kai chirped. "Glimmer, the creature with iridescent feathers, is here with me. We're just discussing how you managed to cheat on another impossible task. It's not personal, you know. It's just that your Terran brain shouldn't be capable of such complex calculations." Kai caught a neutrofruit in the air and took a big bite, making half the class wince. "First of all," he said, munching on a neutrofruit, "this is a Terran, not a primate. Figure out your planetary taxonomy. Secondly, who said that I cheated? It's obvious, isn't it, the blur?" The alien creature trembled with what could be interpreted as laughter. In his form, hailing from a forgotten world where space travel was discovered just a few cycles ago, it is inconceivable that you could surpass the most brilliant minds of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Kai rolled his eyes so hard it looked like they might pop out of his head, causing several of his alien classmates to gasp, thinking it was some kind of human defense mechanism. "After all, being from a forgotten world automatically makes me an idiot." Kai spoke in a tone full of sarcasm. "Surely surviving on a planet that's constantly trying to kill you can't improve your problem-solving abilities." The class fell silent, processing this new idea. It was Zorp who finally broke the silence, his crystalline voice ringing like wind chimes. The task was to calculate the gravitational flow, a binary pulsar system that accounts for quantum fluctuations in the surrounding dark matter field, is beyond the capabilities of even our most sophisticated AI systems. Kai shrugged, taking another bite of his neutrofruit, and it sounded like a typical Tuesday night assignment for high school physics students back on Earth. The silence in the room was so deep that you could hear the neutrino falling. Glimmer finally managed to squeak out, "Are you telling me that this is the level of education that you provide to your young people? I mean, not everyone studies advanced astrophysics in high school, but this is an option. How else should we prepare the next generation for the ruthless world of intergalactic academia?" said Kai, throwing a neutrofruit core into a nearby recycling container. The assembled aliens exchanged puzzled glances. The idea that people would voluntarily subject their children to such intellectual rigor was almost as terrifying as Kai's casual consumption of his neutrofruit. This equation, which has puzzled the best minds from the Andromeda Institute, is actually quite simple once you understand its basic principles. It's all about balancing the forces of attraction and repulsion, just like a delicate dance between two partners. As he spoke, Kai's voice became more animated, his hands gesticulating wildly as he explained the intricacies of the equation. The aliens, who were initially skeptical, began nodding in understanding. "I know it's a lot of information to take in," Kai said, his voice softening. "But once you master the fundamental concepts, this equation will become as simple as 2 times 2, and I'm here to help you understand it." With a final stroke, Kai erased the equation from the board, leaving a blank sheet. "Now, excuse me, I have some more equations to solve," he said with a wink. But don't worry, I'll be back soon to share the solutions with you. When Kai left, the aliens exchanged glances, their faces a mixture of awe and respect. Uncle Kai is a genius, one of them whispered to his neighbor. I've never seen anyone explain complex equations like that before. And so, Kai continued to teach, his passion for science and his ability to simplify complex concepts, inspiring his students to pursue their own scientific pursuits. The key to solving a problem is to look at it from different angles. You all think linearly, but if you simultaneously take into account the gravitational effects in all possible quantum states, you can find a solution. He continued his discourse, interspersing it with earthly analogies that only further confuse the audience. It's akin to trying to calculate the trajectory of a soccer ball during an underwater rugby match, where the soccer ball is also a thread and the playing field is actually the surface of a Mobius strip. When Kai finished his explanation, half of the class looked at him in awe, while the other half seemed to be experiencing the alien equivalent of an existential crisis. That's the point, Kai concluded, brushing off his hands. Any questions? A tentative appendage rose from the back of the room. Electromagnetic radiation? Yes. What is it? Kai slapped his face so hard that the sound reverberated throughout the room. Seriously, is that all you've learned from all this? Well, excuse us for not understanding the intricacies of Terran sports, Glimmer snorted, ruffling his feathers with indignation. Some of us were a little busy trying to figure out how you turn the fundamental laws of physics into a puzzle. What now? Asked Zorp, even more confused. Oh, for heaven's sake, it's a type of nutrition. It doesn't matter, Kai groaned. Look, the thing is, the solution isn't that difficult if you just think outside the box. Unusual, the blur repeated, its gelatinous shape turning into a rough cube. But we're not in a box. The class is clearly in the preocedron. Kai took a deep breath, reminding himself that patience is a virtue, especially when dealing with creatures whose concept of metaphor has been developed in much the same way as the understanding of interpretation in the flatworm. Zorp's law, exclaimed Zorp, his crystal structure vibrating with excitement. So when you say thinking outside the box, do you really mean considering alternative problem-solving methodologies outside of conventional paradigms? Yes, of course, let's call it that. At that moment, the classroom door swished open, revealing Professor Quantum 99, the robotic instructor. His LED eyes blinked rapidly as he scanned the room, taking in the scene. Students, he said in his melodious synthesized voice, I hope you have made productive use of this time to discuss the intricacies of quantum gravity theory. All the aliens started talking at the same time, making a cacophony of chirps and gurgles. While Kai was emitting bursts of energy, he leaned back against the holographic board with a mischievous grin on his face. Professor Quantum's head turned in a full circle, as if in a perplexed shake. Zorp, perhaps you could summarize the discussion. The quartermaster fidgeted nervously. Well, Professor, we were discussing Kai's homework solution. The robot's eyes blinked rapidly. Ah, Mr. Kosmos, your decision was unexpected, to put it mildly. Blurring, Blarg muttered, earning a stern look from the professor's optical sensors. Indeed, continued Quant 9. Mr. Kosmos' approach to the problem was, to put it mildly, unconventional. However, after countless calculations through my quantum processor, I can confirm that its solution is not only correct, but also elegant and straightforward. A collective sigh filled the room. There was silence in the room as Kai looked puzzled. He wasn't sure if his fast calculations would stand up to the test, but now Professor Quantum was looking at him with a soft, gentle smile. Mr. Glimmers, said the professor, it is for this reason that I would like to know more about your experience. All eyes turned back to Kai. He scratched the back of his head, suddenly feeling a little shy. Well, I think it's like that on Earth. We're used to something trying to kill us. The weather, wildlife, whatever you want to call it, is always trying to put an end to our existence. So we had to learn how to think fast. When you face new challenges, you need to be able to adapt. When you face new and unexpected challenges, you learn to be flexible. You're becoming more resourceful. To solve problems from all sides, it's not about being smarter as such. The point is to be versatile and adaptive. Professor Quantum 9 asked, "How does this relate to your solution to the gravitational flow problem?" Kai grinned and replied, "Well, when I studied the equation, it resembled a predator-prey relationship. Pulsars are predators, dark matter is prey, and gravity flow is the ecosystem in which they operate. As soon as I formulated it that way, the decision became clear." The classroom exploded into excited hubbub as the aliens furiously scribbled notes, their appendages flying over data pads and neural interfaces. Professor Quantum 9 called for silence, her voice cutting through the noise. The perspective of Mr. Cosmos really sheds light. Perhaps we have a lot to learn from the unique experience of his kind. Kai couldn't help but chuckle. "Professor, if you think this is mind-blowing, wait until I tell you what else." Kai's question, uttered with a hint of mischief, broke the silence. "What is an energy pie?" His eyes sparkled with a playful light. "Oh, my friend, there's a treat waiting for you," he said, using a metaphorical expression, because he was sure that half of us would dissolve if they tried to eat it. He returned to the holographic board, erasing his previous equations with a wave of his hand. "Okay, class, let's dive into Culinary Physics 101 Express course." The aliens exchanged worried glances. They signed up for advanced quantum mechanics, not this culinary physics, but their curiosity, a universal trait that seems to transcend species boundaries, got the better of them. Kai began to draw a rough circle on the blackboard. "So imagine, you have a disk made of dough, but not a simple dough. This dough contains gluten-protein molecules that give it incredible elasticity." The test creature, with its gelatinous form, trembled in confusion. "You mean it's springy?" "Not really," Kai grinned, "but close. And now the most interesting part. When you throw this dough in the air, you're not just showing off. You're actually using centrifugal force to stretch it evenly." Kai continued to draw a series of diagrams supplemented with force vectors and axes of rotation. The aliens watched in awe as Kai described the complex interplay of physics and gastronomy. "But that's not all," Kai continued, diving into his impromptu lecture. "Now you have air resistance, humidity in the room, even microscopic changes. In the area of surface tension, this is a delicate balance. If you apply too much pressure, you risk tearing the dough. If you apply insufficient pressure, you will not achieve a perfectly round shape." Professor Quantum 9, who had been silently watching this unexpected development, finally broke the silence. "Mr. Cosmos, are you suggesting that your species has developed a separate branch of physics specifically for cooking?" Kai chuckled. "Oh, Professor, you have no idea. We have entire institutions dedicated to food science. Have you ever heard of molecular gastronomy? It's like quantum mechanics, but for your taste buds." The class exploded with a cacophony of questions, each alien trying to understand this peculiar concept. "But why?" Zorp's crystalline voice pierced through the noise. "Why waste so much mental energy on something as trivial as food?" Kai's smile disappeared, replaced by a thoughtful expression. "You know, it's a fair question. I guess that brings us back to what I was saying earlier, when we discussed Earth as the world of death." His tone became more solemn. "On a planet where everything is trying to kill you, food becomes more than just food. It is a source of comfort, a part of our culture, a way to bring people together. And while you may find it absurd to spend hours perfecting the art of tossing an energy pie, for us it's a way to establish control. You see, we say, 'Hey, universe, you might be trying to destroy us, but we're going to create something beautiful and delicious anyway.' There was silence in the room as the aliens pondered this. Even Professor Kvant-9 seemed to be processing new information, his eyes twinkling, shimmering with all the colors of the spectrum. It was Glimmer who broke the silence. "I think I understand," the alien said slowly. "It's similar to how our species evolved complex mating rituals in the face of constant danger. We have found beauty and purpose in movement." Kai snapped his fingers, pointing at the alien. "Exactly," he exclaimed. "We have to find a purpose in this too. We have to create something that will stand, something that will unite us in a world where everything is against us." The professor's metal uniform shimmered under the classroom light. "Students, I believe we have discovered something truly unusual. Mr. Kosmos' unique point of view not only offers a solution to our pressing problem, but also opens up a completely new field of scientific research." The robot turned to Kai, his voice somehow conveying his enthusiasm. "Mr. Kosmos, what do you think about holding a seminar on this? Let's call it Quantum Culinary Design?" Kai blinked, puzzled by the situation. "I am a student who has demonstrated a remarkable ability to think outside the box. Kvant-9 drew attention to me, and I believe that your fellow students could greatly benefit from your ideas." The aliens in the classroom looked at Kai with a mixture of curiosity, apprehension, and, in some cases, what could be described as excitement. Zorp's crystalline structure vibrated with a frequency that could only be described as impatient, while Blarg's gelatinous form took on a hue that Kai had learned to associate with intense interest. Kai scratched the back of his head, a nervous human habit that never ceased to fascinate his alien classmates. "I suppose I could try, but you have to promise not to be intimidated when I start talking about some of the more peculiar aspects of earthly life." There was a chorus of agreement. As the excitement in the class boiled over, Professor Quantum's eyes sparkled with satisfaction. The robotic professor announced in an even tone, "We will schedule the first seminar for next week. I'm looking forward to seeing how this experiment in interspecies education unfolds." As the students began to disperse, still full of excitement from the unexpected turn of events, Kai found himself surrounded by a group of his most curious classmates. Glimmer spoke first, his shimmering feathers ruffled with barely contained enthusiasm. "Kai, I just have to find out what other abilities you humans have. Are they all as fascinatingly complex as the energy pie toss you mentioned?" Kai couldn't help but laugh. "Oh, friend, where should I start? We have turned almost everything into art or science. You should see. The way we treat fuelescence," Zorp's electromagnetic form pulsed with curiosity, "is a different type of sustenance." Kai chuckled. "It's a drink that we create from roasted grains, but it's much more than just that. It's the fuel for late-night study sessions, the social lubricant for awkward first dates, and the lifeblood of our entire civilization." The blur of his gelatinous form wavered with confusion. "Do you get the energy of your civilization from bean-based liquid? How primitively charming!" Kai rolled his eyes. "It's a figure of speech, Blardble. Although," he paused with a mischievous twinkle in his eyes, "I wouldn't be surprised if some of our engineers tried to power the spacecraft with espresso." The aliens exchanged puzzled glances, clearly not sure if Kai was joking or not. It was a common occurrence in their interactions with people when they left the classroom. Zorp's crystalline voice rang out. "Kai, I've been analyzing your problem." Kai pondered this for a moment as they walked through the holographically enhanced corridor of the Galactic Institute. The walls shimmered with real-time representations of various cosmic phenomena. Here a black hole swallowing a star, there a supernova explosion. "Not always," he finally replied, "but I think it's embedded in our psychology. You know, even when we are not in immediate danger, there is a part of our brain that is always alert, always looking for creative solutions to potential threats." "Fascinating," Zorp purred. "How does this way of thinking manifest itself in your daily life, Kai?" "We turn almost everything into a competition. We have sports where we deliberately put ourselves in danger for fun. We create art that explores the darkest aspects of our psyche. We even have a party where we dress up as monsters. What scares us and gives us sweets? The children, the aliens, fell silent, trying to understand this concept. It was Glimmer who broke the silence, his alien features distorted into what Kai recognized as an expression of deep confusion. "But why?" Glimmer chirped. "Are you deliberately looking for danger and fear?" Of course, the logical course of action would be to minimize risk and maximize safety. Kai shrugged his shoulders. "You think so, right? But here's the thing. Comfort is not always comfortable for us. We thrive when faced with challenges, pushing our boundaries. It's like if you never used your wings, Glimmer, they would atrophy, become useless. We view our problem-solving ability in the same way. If we don't train it, we lose it." When they reached the Institute's large atrium, with its rotating misty ceiling and anti-gravity seating areas, the group stopped. The aliens seemed to be deep in thought, processing this new perspective of human psychology. Finally, Professor Kvant, 9, spoke up. I followed the group in silence, breaking the silence with my presence. I believe we are witnessing a significant moment in galactic education. Mr. Kosmos's views give us a unique opportunity to deepen our understanding of problem-solving and adaptation. The robot's eyes scanned a series of complex patterns before settling on a warm amber glow. I propose to expand Mr. Kosmos's workshop into a comprehensive course on planetary dynamics, exploring adaptive problem-solving and inviting experts from other species that have evolved under high stress. This could revolutionize our approach to galactic challenges. The excitement among the alien students was palpable, their electromagnetic forms pulsing so fast that it was almost painful to look at them. Meanwhile, Blarg transformed into a shape that Kai could only describe as a bright squiggle. "Oh man," Kai thought, although he couldn't suppress the smile that stretched the corners of his mouth. "What have I gotten myself into?" "I am delighted with this prospect, Mr. Kosmos," replied Professor Kvant 9, his voice modulator transmitting a feeling of warmth. "Or maybe I should say Professor Kosmos." Kai's eyes widened in surprise. "Wait, what? Professor? I'm still a student of quantum mechanics, albeit with some knowledge of robotics. However, in the field of death world dynamics, you are currently the leading expert in our galaxy. Unless, of course, you would prefer that we invite another person to lead the course." The thought of any of his fellow humans walking freely through this alien academy made Kai shudder. He could easily imagine his roommate Mike trying to explain the intricacies of Earth's most dangerous sport, the hot dog eating competition. No, Kai said quickly. "I'll do it. Someone has to represent Earth without causing an interstellar incident." When the group dispersed, everyone went to their homes for a night cycle. Kai found himself alone with Professor Quantum 9. The professor's eyes sparkled with amusement. "Maybe we should catch up with you," Kai thought. When Kai entered his room, he noticed a small terrarium on his desk. A tiny cactus stood proudly inside, its spines glistening under the artificial sunlight. It was a small piece of land, a constant reminder of the harsh beauty of his home world. Kai smiled, reaching out to gently touch the glass. "Looks like we have something to teach," he muttered. "It's time to show this galaxy what Earthlings are really made of." Settling in for the night, Kai couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. He may have been just one person in a vast alien universe, but today he took the first step towards bridging the gap between worlds. And who knows, perhaps by sharing the lessons learned in their unforgiving homeworld, humans could help create a safer, more adaptive galaxy for all species. With this thought warming his heart, Kai fell asleep, dreaming of energy pie-tossing competitions in zero-gravity and interstellar coffee shops. And the aliens could share their stories about their most daring problem-solving adventures. Little did he know that his impromptu lesson had already set in motion a chain of events that would revolutionize galactic education in the coming weeks. The news of the creation of the Planetary Dynamics course will spread throughout the cosmos, attracting curious students and skeptical scientists from every corner of the known universe. And at the center of it all will be Kai Kosmos, a humble man who turned a simple homework assignment into a galactic phenomenon. Armed only with his intellect, his unique earthly perspective, and an endless supply of earthly metaphors, he was going to conquer the academic world. As for his alien classmates, they were in for the educational adventure of a lifetime. After all, they had yet to experience the mind-boggling subtleties of human idioms, the fear-inducing nature of terrestrial wildlife documentaries, or the existential crisis that arises when reflecting on the plot of Earth. The Galactic Institute of Higher Mathematics was about to start an express course on Terranology 101, and space will never be the same.